For centuries, soldiers across Europe whispered a terrifying phrase: better to die in battle than fall into Ottoman hands. What they did to prisoners wasn't execution, it was something far more twisted. A fate that stripped away everything that made you human, while keeping you alive to serve the very empire that destroyed you. They called it the Devshirme, the blood tax. Christian boys ripped from their mothers' arms, taken to compounds where they were beaten until they forgot their own names, whipped until they couldn't remember their native language, broken so completely that within months they'd beg to fight for the empire that stole their childhood. And the empire? They didn't just want soldiers, they wanted sons to slaughter their own fathers. Picture this. The year is 1453. The Ottoman Empire has just conquered Constantinople and now stretches from Vienna to Arabia. But Sultan Mehmed faces a problem: millions of conquered Christians who hate their new rulers. His solution? Don't kill the next generation, reprogram them. Every few years, officials would sweep through villages across the Balkans, Greece, and Eastern Europe. Not for gold, not for grain, for children. Boys aged 8 to 18, the strongest, the brightest, the most promising, measured like livestock and dragged away in chains. Parents who resisted, executed on the spot. This was the Devshirme, and it had been law for over 200 years. Here's what they don't teach you. These boys weren't just trained, they were erased, taken to brutal compounds, given new Muslim names, told their families were dead whether it was true or not. Speak your native tongue? Beaten. Mention your village? Whipped raw. Pray to Christ? Tortured until you begged Allah for mercy. Within months, many couldn't remember their mothers' faces. But here's the real horror. They were specifically trained to fight their own people. Serbian boys sent to crush Serbian rebellions. Greek boys forced to execute Greek resistance fighters. The Ottomans wanted living proof they could shatter the human mind so completely that a son would gut his own father on command. And the worst part? It worked. The Janissaries became the most feared warriors in the world, not through loyalty, but through total psychological annihilation. The mental destruction was absolute. Records tell of Janissaries who'd suddenly break down decades later, childhood memories surfacing like shrapnel in their minds. In 1521, a Janissary commander named Mehmet led the siege of Belgrade. Ottoman records hide the truth. Mehmet was born Miloš Obrenović, a Serbian boy stolen from that very city 15 years earlier. He personally aimed the cannons that obliterated his childhood home. But here's the cruelest fate. In 1537, a Janissary named Hassan tried to escape. They caught him, dragged him back, and forced him to watch as officials returned to his village and took his 9-year-old brother in retaliation. Then they made Hassan train the boy himself. The message was clear. You don't just belong to us, your entire bloodline does, forever. For 400 years, Ottoman historians sold a lie, calling the Devshirme an opportunity for peasants to gain power. Some Janissaries did become generals, even prime ministers. Perfect propaganda. But the documents describing the torture? Burned during the empire's collapse. Janissaries who wrote about their trauma? Silenced permanently. When the Ottoman Empire fell after World War I, archives were sealed, textbooks rewritten. In the 1970s, archaeologists discovered hidden letters. One, from a former Janissary named Constantine, read, "They didn't kill my body, they murdered my soul. I wear their uniform, speak their language, worship their God. But every night I dream I'm still that boy screaming for his mother, and every morning I wake up and realize the boy is dead." Now here's the part that should terrify you. The Devshirme officially ended in the early 1700s, that's what the history books say. But in 1994, during excavations near Edirne, archaeologists uncovered a mass grave, 127 boys, aged 10 to 16, all showing signs of systematic torture, all buried around 1810, a full century after it supposedly stopped. They were wearing rotted Janissary training uniforms. We know the names of 200,000 boys taken during the official Devshirme period. But Ottoman population records suggest the real number exceeds 2 million children. That's 1.8 million boys who vanished into this system with no record of what happened to them. Some became Janissaries. But what about the ones who weren't strong enough? Who resisted too hard? Who broke during training? Those files don't exist. And here's the legacy that should keep you awake. The mental reprogramming techniques created in those compounds. They're in modern military manuals, the concept of stealing children and weaponizing them, replicated by the Soviets, by modern extremist groups, by regimes across history. The Ottomans didn't just commit an atrocity, they wrote the instruction manual for how to turn innocence into a weapon. So here's my question for you. When we talk about the glory of empires, whose glory are we celebrating? And how many children's screams are buried beneath every monument to conquest?